Hello. It has been a minute since I've done an in-depth application lesson on the fusion method, so I figured it's Monday, we might as well do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pin my new fringe back. I decided I wanted to do a little something different. So I'm gonna pin it and we'll go ahead and get started on how to do the fusion method. Now remember, you can use the makeup that I love to use for this, or you can follow my tips and method to this and do it with makeup that you already have at home. I'm going to be using a custom compact. You can use whatever you have, but we're gonna talk about the zones of your face and how you can achieve the undetectable makeup look by paying attention to that. Before you begin, give a quick evaluation of your face to the two zones. You have your inactive moving areas and your active moving areas. Inactive is going to fall most generally kind of this back side of our face where we don't have as much muscle tension, we don't get as much creasing, and then the active moving areas are going to often be the areas where those muscles are really strong, like the sphincter muscle around your eye and mouth. Those are very strong moving. We know how that works. So that's tending to cause a lot more creasing and texture. And sometimes, depending on if you get skin treatments like Botox or Dysport, the forehead can be a more active moving area. Also, the nose is a pretty active moving area because you get a lot of just like the bunny lines. And then there's typically a lot more texture on the nose, like pores, etc. As a general cheat sheet, the more active moving areas need to have lighter, more sheer, less opacity products. When we're working with the inactive moving areas, you can be a lot more gracious to what you want to use. They can be heavier products, they can be more full coverage, or you can stay with the lighter products as well. So you just have a lot more leeway in the inactive areas than you do in the active, because that's where you're going to show the most aging, because you're going to get products that will crease and texture, and we don't want that. So you just want to be more mindful. I'm going to be using all the products inside of my compact. My demi colors are all very sheer. They're very veil-like in their finishes, but we can use a highlight, which is kind of more the foundation, to achieve that by doing this one simple step. Moving into my inactive moving areas of my face, you could use products like bronzers, contours, foundations, anything that you want in this area. I'm particularly going to use demi just because I like the very sheer color tint it gives to my skin without being very heavy. But again, these areas of the face have a lot less movement to them, so you really can use whatever product you're the most happy with in this area. There are some really pretty cream bronzer sticks that I think work very nicely, but I'm going to be using demi in mine. One of my other favorite contours is this contour right here, this High Tide. It's a very, very beautiful color and does very similar to my demi, but that's what I'm going to be using today. One of the other reasons I like to use my demi more than anything else is because in this step, I'm going to be working on enhancing color and just bringing life back into my face. And a lot of the areas on my face that I actually want to bring up color tend to end up in the active moving areas as well, like around my eyes here. And I find that it's so much easier to add color where color is missing than it is to delete colors. So oftentimes we're drawn to the idea of like putting concealer all under our eyes and doing this bright effect. And what really happens is it just ends up getting into the creases and just making us look older and less polished. So I want to have a more natural approach to this. So it's easier to add color where it's missing than to delete color. that said, I'm just going to continue working around my whole face and adding color where color's missing. So I'm just kind of building it all up, and then I'll go back through to the few little areas, because you'll be so surprised once you go through and you just continue to like add color little by little, where you will see like a lot of any darkness that I had is actually going to just be completely part of my whole finished look in the end, which is gonna end up being super, super natural because of that. So where on my eyelids I miss a little bit of color, like I'll just go through and kind of add that same tone. So right now, all I've been working with is this demi sculpt, or this demi shade, to just kind of go back in and enhance, add color, and work through it. I do want to add a little bit of structure. I lost volume in my face as I age. A lot of us do. So I want to just bring up where I'm missing that volume. So I'm going to switch to a different demi, and I'm going to just add color again where I'm missing it to kind of bring that hollow in and give me more shape, give me more volume, but I'm using the smallest amount. So there's nothing to be afraid of with adding some contour. This little step will kind of bring in that volume. If you've lost any, you don't have to go like that whole Kim K moment where you're snatched out. You don't have to be scared of it. This teeny tiny little bit of amount will make such a difference in the overall finished product. I'm just gonna flip to the other side of my brush because I wanna be a little bit more detailed. And I don't want to have to do a lot around like my mouth and nose area. So I do want to take care of areas where they're a little bit bright. And I'm gonna take in and bring in just a little bit of the sculpt there. And this is going to end up just kind of taking away some of that volume. So if we think about it, shadow is going to bring things back, brightness is going to bring things forward. And so I'm just kind of using that knowledge of art just to make some of my anatomy less just like poking out there a little bit more, like take some of that volume away, and it'll look more youthful and vibrant in the end. The very last thing I'm going to do is contouring out my nose, because it's not a step that everybody wants to do. So before I get there, I'm going to work on my under eyes. And we're remembering the muscle around our eye is the orbicularis oculi, and it is a sphincter muscle. We all know how a bottom hole works, right? We know how that works. So that muscle is working the same way around our eyes and our mouth. And because of that, as we age and we lose density, we lose volume, our skin just gets more thin and looser. It's going to be more prone to showing any creases and texturing if you're going to use products like concealer, foundations, because they're a lot heavier, they're a lot more opacity of a product, and the eyes that you had when you were 20 are not the eyes that you have in your 40s. So you are going to have to switch that up. I don't want to look plastic, so I'm going to switch to the spot brush, and I'm going to work on the inside and my tear trough. So I am going to switch up my color on here, and I'm going to delete the shadow inside of the tear trough here. And by taking away that shadow, what's going to happen is that it's going to deflect the rest of the eye from having any of that darkness. So then I'm going to look like it's super refreshed. See how this like doesn't show any texture, but if you look over here, you can see that divot. But by taking away that shadow like I did, I don't have that divot. So I just have like what looks super refreshed, like I got 8 hours of sleep, I drank all the water that I'm supposed to, I don't have any stresses in the world, I'm just like a hippie at heart and just like carefree. That's what we all want, right? That's just what we want to look like. Now I want to go through and I want to kind of fine tune anything on my eyelid that is a distraction, which oftentimes are these like little purple broken capillaries. But if I just go through and take care of each of those, I will end up having like no distraction to my eye. So just the tone that I've put on there back to the areas where I've been missing some color, just, you know, your skin just kind of gets a little bit like, I don't know, sallow, not as bright and vibrant depth of color like on your eyelids. Just kind of happens. But see how I deleted just those few, and then now it just looks so refreshed, so natural. Like I just have this beautiful eye that just is so lucky. But I'm going to do a little bit more because I'm actually going to go into my nose contour. So I'm going to be taking some color here. Scratch that. Before I get into nose contour, I forgot I wanted to add in a little bit of coloring to my cheeks, because nose contour is not a absolutely necessary step. So I want people to be able to finish their makeup from this point and bow out. But if you want to get to a little bit more detailed, then I want you to stick around to do nose contouring and lips, which is what I'm going to do to kind of finish off my look. But if you are happy to this point, adding in a little bit of natural flush. I'm using a demi color for this, but I also love this one and I love this one. So it just kind of depends on, you know, what your end goal is for that day. Most of the time, I just love a really natural glow. That's my go-to, and this would be it. If you are sticking around for the nose contour at this point, I'm going to use my bright brush and use the small end, and I'm wanting to kind of create a little bit more roundness to the tip of my nose. So I'm going to kind of bring in some shadow there. And then I'm also going to stick with this same thing, and I'm going to add color where it's missing in, I need a little bit closer of a mirror. So I'm going to use my compact. And I'm going to bring in shadow on my eyelid where I'm a little bit brighter and missing color to strengthen out or sharpen out the natural contour that I have inside my nose there. See how that just gave me a lot more detailed shape, and I just added where I was missing that tone on the other side. On this side is where I'm a little bit more crooked. So I'm going to continue it a little bit more sharper down this side of my nose, which still you're not really seeing, but it will make a world of difference in the end. I don't want my contour to look like two lines down the side of my nose and like I'm in nasal prison. I just want to create a lot stronger of a shadow so that that shape is better. It's like a lot more detailed. So you can kind of see there. I think I'm going to blend still a little bit more, but I'm going to go and finish off this side, which I don't need to do here. I just need to bring it in up here. But see, if I move from here to here to here, no matter how I move my face, you're not seeing full-blown contour in your face. The whole point is to be completely undetectable, and I'm working on my nose, so I don't want to use a full opacity contour. So I would want to be using something in a demi sculpt because it is just pigment and very little opacity. It's more sheer, it's more veil-like, and that's the products that I find to be the most effective products in active moving areas of your face. It is the most undetectable finish. It's just going to end up being like, does she even have anything on there? Or does God just love her more? And that's the whole point. That's what I try to do. Okay, so I'm gonna finish out a little bit on here, and then I'm going to take care of a few little spots with my demi as well. To do this, I'm just going to use the spot brush and then just address the little spots that are a little bit darker, and I won't have to put product all over my nose. I'll just end up deleting little areas that are a bit distracting from the actual shape of my nose altogether. I said I was gonna do a little detail work on my lips as well. So you can see the natural purple lining that I have, but I end up losing it here and here. So I'm just gonna fill in where I'm missing, and I'm gonna use another Demi Sculpt and the spot brush. And I'm just going to do it right on the areas of my lip that it's missing that tone, and tie it right into the areas that it's naturally there. So you can see how it shapes out my lip, and I didn't even put anything down here. It just brings that color and that tone all together. And when I do this, I just have a really pretty lip shape, and I can just add a color if I want to, or just my lip gloss, whatever I want, but this will last pretty much through eating. I don't really touch this up throughout the day. So I'll just fill it in just so I have a good natural shape. It's hard to talk and do this one. I always end up like doing something funky when I talk and do it. Okay, that's pretty much how I want it. So I'm gonna wipe off my brush though, and I am going to take a little bit of a Demi and get rid of some volume right here. Just so that shape stays really nice. And on the Cupid's bow, I have a little bit of hyperpigmentation. So I'm gonna take the same and do it as well. So I'll just fill it in just so I have a good natural shape. It's hard to talk and do this one. I always end up like doing something funky when I talk and do it. Okay, that's pretty much how I want it. So I'm gonna wipe off my brush though, and I am going to take a little bit of a Demi and get rid of some volume right here. Just so that shape stays really nice. And on the Cupid's bow, I have a little bit of hyperpigmentation. So I'm gonna take the same and do it as well. From here, it's really just about if I want to like add any finishing touches, which I would like to like enhance a little bit of tone around my eye. And again, filling it in where that color's missing, because when I do that, it's just gonna stay really natural looking for the whole day. This is just kind of the finishing touches, and I just work around my face to do that, and then add a little lip gloss, and I'll let my hair down and then show you the absolute finished product, because I think this is my favorite way to do my makeup. If you wanted to, go the extra, you could add on your lashes or your mascara. You could do a little eyeshadow if you like to wear that. And of course you can do like a bright lip if that's something that you're into as well. But the natural base for me is everything. Of course, I'm gonna do my absolute favorite lip gloss. I need to actually find something that I love as much, but every time I feel like I really fall in love with a product, it gets taken off the market, and then I'm like stuck at square one to find it. So find something I love as much. And there you have it, guys. That is a full undetectable face of makeup out of a singular compact. This is my absolute favorite way to achieve this. You can do this with other products if you are paying attention to the zones of your face and what product you can put there, but I think this is the most superior to use for it. But I've been using this one for such a long time, and this is what I get the most compliments on, is when I do it out of this compact. So I want to give that to you. I want you to get the most compliments too. If you want me to build you out a beautiful compact like this, I'm gonna put my free color match form here in the bio, or here in the story, so you can click right on it and just get right in line in my queue. And I will get you back a color match shortly for a compact that looks like mine, but matched for you and your tones. And this is, you know, I don't know, you guys, can it get better? I don't think it does. I'm sorry, but I just don't think it does. Anyways, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you when I see you, right? You know, we got more stories coming up this week. We got a lot going on, so stick around and we'll chit chat soon. Bye.